In this tutorial, I will show you how to use a comparable interface. Here we have a comparable circle. That circle is a superclass, and we have a comparable interface. So we know that there is a subclass of circle, implement comparable interface, and they have to override compareTo methods. And then we are going to compare circles on the basis of area. So that is actually belongs to comparable interface. We need to implement it in compareCircle class. Then the last one, we just created two objects, then compare each other according to area of circles. So let me just draw a simple class diagram. So here, comparable. Class type, we are going to deal with comparable circle. We have a circle as a superclass. In this case, we will have only one data field called radius. We need that to calculate area of circle. So let me just write it down here clearly. Normally, you don't have to write it down setters and getters for data field if it's obvious. So we have a comparable circle. In this case, I will say compareTo. Actually, we don't have to write it down because we are overriding methods, but try to make it clear. So let me just write it down. So main idea is here compareCircle class. We extend circle, then we implement comparable interface. That's the most important part of this exercise. So let me just make it as a class. Then I will say here dash arrow, implement comparable interface. This one extend. So we have a class name, data field, and then methods. Again, class name, no data field, just methods. Then I think I'm missing one here. Pretty much that's all according to the exercise. Let's create one project. This one we are going to keep it as application. Here, let's start with circle. I will try to keep it simple, so I will focus on only one data field called radius. Let's say getter and setter, okay. Let me add constructor default one more time with radius. Constructor with radius. ToString methods. Because we are going to compare circle with get area method, so let me implement it. That's based on radius multiplied by radius multiplied by pi. That's all we need for circle class, okay? Straightforward. Now we are going to have a comparable circle. This one will extend a circle and then implement comparable interface. Here type will be comparable circle. So we have to implement abstract methods, which is compareTo. 3 things to do. We can compare with this object. If it's greater than O get area, let me change O to be circle. So we are talking about comparing two objects, okay? If that's true, we'll say parsing number 1. If this object is less than circle object, according to get area or according to area, we say -1. Otherwise, it's the same. It has the same area, okay? So return 0. So let me construct two objects at least. Comparable circle and circle. Comparable. Let me check the constructor. Okay. Let me add a default constructor. Here another constructor with radius. Okay, that's invoking superclass constructor. So now we can construct the object with radius. Okay, change to 10. Should be number 2. So the method name, I will call it as max. Return type, we are going to return comparable circle type. Here we need 2 parameters. Let me put the comment, say return maximum of 2 circle objects. So if we have object radius 5 and 10, it's going to return circle with radius 10. So we are comparing comparable circle 1, comparable circle 2. Implementation is straightforward. We just say C1 compared to C2. If that's greater than 0, then means C1 is bigger than C2. Otherwise, C2 is bigger than C1. Again, that should be capital C. We are returning comparable circle class type. So comparable here is more complicated if you don't save to circle 3. So let me just go one more step here. Max circle 1, circle 2 is going to return comparable circle object. So typecasting is not necessary. Hang on. Circle CL1. Okay, missing E. Okay. Normally we need to do typecasting in front of max, say comparable circle, but in this case we don't have to. So toString, so according to toString, okay. Again, I don't have area, so let me say area equal circle 3, and then say get area. So we can see calculation of area for that circle. So radius is 10 multiplied by 10 and multiplied by 3.14, so 314 seems correct, okay? But it's not clear. Let me print circle 1 and 2 so that we can see which one is bigger more visually, okay? So circle 1 and 2, there should be 1 and 2. Okay, seems okay. So first one is 78 because 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 3, 14 is 25 by 3, 78, roughly correct, okay? So we know that circle 2 is bigger than circle 1 without doing any calculation. We can see that. So most important thing implementation here, comparable circle. If you want to make circle to be comparable, you have to implement comparable interface, and then you have to override toString methods called compareTo. Again, let me put some comments. It's going to return negative value or negative integer or 0 or positive. If this object, okay, we are looking at the current object, is less than or equal to or greater than the object we are passing, which is a circle in this case. Okay, that's all. Thank you.